Sergio, Jojo Diaz made his debut at 135 pounds, and what an impressive debut it was. Diaz outpointed and beat Javier Fortuna by unanimous decision last Friday, and then he called out some of the top names in the division, including Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney. So Sergio, after that performance, do you think Jojo Diaz is ready for the top guys at lightweight?
Yes, he is, and we needed to see that from him against a top contender in Javier Fortuna, a strong, heavy-handed, good, slick fighter, top fighter for a long time. So yes, he can do it because, like you said, he controlled this guy the entire time. Fortuna had some good moments, but Jojo Diaz knows his style. He's not a big puncher, but he uses that southpaw style with good movement, good positioning, the body punching. The body punching is exactly what makes him special, what made him a champion. Now he has the discipline as well. Now he has, he matured. I said it on the telecast. The maturation of Jojo Diaz continues because that's what we're seeing. We're seeing him turn from boy into a man and from contender to champion. Yes, he can compete with number 3, 4, and 5, but as far as Teofimo and Tank go, not yet, but he can definitely give everything to Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, Jorge Linares, and so on and so forth.
Well, I think he can absolutely compete with Tank Davis. I mean, he's the same size as Tank Davis. Tank's a smaller 135-pounder as it is. So yeah,
Leo Santa Cruz competed with Tank Davis for.
We're not doing the Leo Santa Cruz conversation right now. Leo Santa Cruz was basically done at the end of his career, moving up for pretty much one last big payday. Joseph Diaz is in the prime of his career right now, and he showed me at 135 pounds that he could do everything that he showed against Tevin Farmer at 130. And I was a skeptic of Diaz coming into this fight. I thought he would have a lot of problems with the physicality of fighters like Fortuna at 135, but Diaz promised coming in that he was going to be the pressure fighter. He was. He promised coming in that he was going to land the bigger shots. He did. Diaz was able to control the action for almost 90% of this fight. And if he can continue to do that, to pressure the Ryan Garcias, the Devin Haneys, the Gervonta Davises, even the Teofimo Lopezes, I think he could have a lot of success. The question is going to come, Sergio, is what happens if a fighter's strong enough, quick enough, and active enough to start backing him up. The few times that Fortuna had success during this fight are when he was the aggressor, when he had Diaz moving backwards. Whenever Diaz was coming forwards, he was really good. So I'm anxious to see and eager to see if Diaz can do that against the top level guys.
You really think listen, I'm a big Jojo Diaz fan, but I'm going to keep it real here. Do you really see him backing up a Teofimo Lopez or a Tank Davis? No. And going back to Leo Santa Cruz was having some success against Tank the early rounds, the first 4 rounds especially. It was a good competitive fight. I could see Jojo being competitive. Can he compete? Yes. Can he beat? That's what I'm thinking about. Not number 1 and 2, or at least not yet, or not ever maybe, because he's not naturally that guy. He's not a puncher. He wasn't a puncher at 126 or 130. What makes you think he's gonna be a puncher at 135? But can he give someone like Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia competition? Absolutely, because they don't have that experience yet. Jojo brings that experience. What he lacks in size, he brings in resume, and that's the reason they're the best, some of the best, and he can compete with those guys.
Why are you giving so much credit to the punchers? You weren't a puncher. You had success. I mean, you were giving a lot of credit to Gervonta Davis, too, for being this, boogeyman at 135. Guys had one fight at 135 and beat Yuriorkis Gamboa. Like, what are we talking about here? Devin Haney is not a big puncher, Sergio. Devin Haney is one of the top guys at 135. I think that Jojo Diaz can have every bit the success that Devin Haney has. And he can do it by being that pressure fighter. And look, I think it's fair to question if he has the chin at 135. Is he going to be able to hold up to the power shots administered by a Gervonta Davis or more likely by a Ryan Garcia? But everything I saw against Fortuna, who by the way is a pretty good puncher at 135, everything I saw there tells me that Jojo Diaz is at the right weight class right now.
He looked good at 135, but he's not gonna carry the weight. He started at 122. You're using me as an example. I had to go down to win a championship. Can you imagine if I went to super middleweight and light heavyweight or even cruiserweight, 2-3 divisions like Jojo Diaz is doing? That's what I mean here. So if he can't carry, he can bring up the experience. He can bring up all the experience that he brought from the amateurs to the pros up to lightweight, and that's why he's a damn good fighter. He's scrappy, and now that he's taking his career serious and he's disciplined and he has a whole new mind frame, yes, he's a dangerous fighter, but against the absolute best, I think it's just too much. I mean, if he continues doing what he's doing, he's barely 28 years old. I could see him growing bigger and stronger by the time he's 30, 31. Maybe then he can be one of the top two at lightweight. But for right now, I think 3, 4, 5 was where his mind should be at lightweight. But can he beat Teal and Tank? Not yet, no.
No, look, if you moved up in weight, you'd get slapped around worse than Danny Jacobs slapped you around. So it wouldn't be an issue for Jojo if he was like that. But Jojo is in the prime of his career. And Sergio, you look at some of the guys that moved up recently. Let's say Leo Santa Cruz. He proved in his first real fight at 130 that he can't handle the power of a big puncher. Go back to a different weight class. We have Carl Frampton going up to 130. He proved he was not big enough for the likes of a Jamel Herring at 130 pounds. We saw Jojo Diaz in with a legitimate puncher. For all of Fortuna's flaws, he is a legitimate puncher. And Jojo took that away from him by making him fight going backwards virtually the entire night. So all I'm saying is if Jojo can keep backing up Ryan Garcia, backing up Tank Davis, backing up Devin Haney, he can have the exact level of success.
Fortuna is not as tall as Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia is almost 5'11". Devin
Yeah,
Haney's
but big deal, Sergio. But like big deal. Like we
big
just
deal,
saw
the length, the reach don't matter. That doesn't matter to you.
Of course, it doesn't always matter. You know what it didn't? You know when it didn't matter, Sergio? In the opening fight of our telecast, where we saw William Zepeda beat up on Hector Tanahara, who had the height and the reach advantage. You know when it didn't matter? A few months ago when Brian Castano beat the crap out of Patrick Teixeira. Like, height and reach are great if you can use them, but if you're smaller, stronger, and you're able to get on the inside, that wins fights too.